But we'll move on to our next topic. Something hot in the NBA right now is vaccination status. Something I never expected to see in my lifetime. But with COVID-19, things are new and changing every day. There are some unvaccinated players in the league. We'll get to just saying right off the bat, 90% of players are vaccinated. That's good to see. We'd love to get that number to 100%, in my opinion. But right now, there are a few teams that are kind of in limbo with this vaccination mandate that's not in the NBA. But there is, however, restrictions in specific cities causing their players to have some issues. Those cities being New York City and San Francisco, which affects our teams, the New York Knicks, Brooklyn Nets, and Golden State Warriors. Everyone knows Andrew Wiggins does not want to take the vaccine. He basically has declined any questions. He's really not digging into like his reasoning for it. He did try getting the religious exemption, and then that did not work. He is the same guy who a few months ago said, I don't see myself getting the COVID-19 vaccine basically until I'm forced to, which now he is basically being forced to, and he's not sticking to his word. But let's start there with Andrew Wiggins. I mean, this guy was on my favorite team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, for years. We just got rid of him. I'm so glad we're not having to deal with this right now on top of the news we had last week. I
Yeah,
mean, God, this guy, he just doesn't stay out of his own way, does he?
no, I know. And luckily, I mean, it's really going to hurt the team, like hit, especially at the beginning of this season. Plays out. They want to stay competitive. They want to make the playoffs. So missing one of their starting wings, it's going to be tough. And that's 40 games. Actually, so it's probably like closer to 45 with all the New York games put in there, if not more. I mean, if LA becomes, which is close, if pushes this mandate, there's two more teams. That's almost 50 games he's missing out of 70. That's
Yeah.
that's
And that being the rule that we didn't specify technically before, with those cities, they're not requiring anyone who's unvaccinated to go to indoor dining events. They're not allowing them to go to indoor sporting events as well as any other entertainment
Mhm.
event. So therefore, they can't play basketball at their own game. Um, I mean, it's crazy to see, but that is the fact of the matter. The NBA can't come to an agreement with the NBA or NBPA on having a vaccine mandate, but the city said, screw it, we'll have a mandate anyways. So yeah, with Andrew
Yeah.
Wiggins in San Francisco, Golden State Warriors, I mean, is he
Uh,
gonna get paid still?
it's once you start missing games, if you don't show up to the first game, there's a paycheck. There's this Brian Windhorst has gone a lot over this. I'm not some pay extraordinaire with the NBA, but it's the more games you miss, this less you get paid, no matter what the reason you miss it for. So it's like the same deal. If Wiggins isn't going to get vaccinated, it's the same deal as Ben Simmons is going through. Like if he's going to sit out games, uh, financially, it's the same deal. He's
That's
not going
true.
to
He
get
did
paid.
have that quote. Someone said, you withstand to lose lots of money. What do you say about that? And he said, that's my problem, not yours,
Yeah.
essentially. So I guess he's prepared for that. Um, he just doesn't want to get a little prick in his arm. I mean, I understand if he's afraid of needles. I personally fought a needle fear my whole life, but I also am not a total bitch. So I was able to go get my vaccine and take care of my neighbors.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually not too concerned about Wiggins. They talked to Steve Kerr and he sounded pretty confident. He's like, I'm confident Wiggins is going to do the right thing. He's like, I'm expecting everyone that needs to be on the floor to be on the floor on
But
opening
like,
day.
if you expected that, wouldn't he have done it by now?
I don't
What's
know.
gonna change from now to the regular season? You really, like, everyone keeps saying they just expect Kyrie and Andrew Wiggins are gonna get these vaccines before the season start. But like, if that was the case, I think they would have done it already. Why would they bring the circus to training camp? Especially Andrew Wiggins a reserved guy. I mean, I could see it on Kyrie's angle where he just loves being in the news. He'll
Yeah.
fucking do whatever. He's just Mr. Contrarian without a cause. That is his mantra. But Andrew Wiggins kind of surprised me because, yeah, I understand he's a total fucking idiot. Like, I knew that before, but I also thought he was a reserved guy and maybe didn't want all this spotlight on him for, something as simple as a vaccine.
Yeah, maybe it does conflict with something in his religion, but however, like you're an NBA player and this is what they want, man. Like if you want to play basketball, you're gonna do it. That's why, like, if we want to move over, so like that's why Steve Kerr coming out and saying like he didn't say he's gonna get the vaccine. He's like, he did not seem worried about it. He was like, no, yep, I'm sure he's gonna get the vaccine. I expect everyone to be out there on the floor opening day. In contrast to like James Harden, Steve Nash, and Kevin Durant when they're asked about it, they're like, don't worry about it. They're like, we'll deal with that.
Yeah, they're
That's
like, oh, this is not good.
yeah, they're like, fuck Kyrie. Like another thing. Like how I didn't he just didn't show up to games because he was going out and breaking COVID protocol last season. I mean, he only played 54 games last season.
Yeah, he had to go on sabbatical. He had to just take his time to be Kyrie. Like, franchises coddle this guy all the time. And then he's always just like, you know what? I'm going to throw some more drama on top of it.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of like I used to really like Kyrie,
Oh, I
honestly.
love him as a player. He's
Yeah,
so fun to
super
watch.
skillful. However, like what do I have here? Only played 54 games last year. He was injured in the playoffs this season. Twice he was injured in the playoffs with Boston. Missed out two of those seasons because he got injured. One of them was before the season playoffs came around. The other one was during the playoffs. Like
Yeah, which the
he's
injuries ruined the chemistry there before it could have started.
yeah, and he just so if he can't play in home games, that's 40 home games. Plus two other teams have the vaccine, so and LA is not far behind. LA is another 3 games, and it's 3 games with the Knicks and Warriors. So combined for 46 games, he's going to miss out. He says it's a private matter. KD Harden not worried. I would be totally worried. I'm just through with it. I'm like, does this guy want to play basketball? Like, out of everything, like I get it. He thinks the media is out to get him, and the media's not the best at. I mean, they eat up these Kyrie things, but like, dude, like you're kind of doing it to yourself. Like you don't have to do all this. And I know he's like it's a private matter. It's what I want to do. I shouldn't have to tell somebody what I do with my body, and nobody should tell me what to do. I'm like, okay, like great, but it's your job. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want
I
to watch you
mean,
play basketball.
like I keep hearing the personal matter on like the medical freedom from anti-vaxxers on this matter, and like that's right. It is your choice. You're totally allowed to do anything in life, but you're not free from consequence. And that's what they don't get. They don't get that connection. Like, sorry, just because you don't want COVID to be real doesn't mean that it's not. It is here, and it still affects people. Like, it affects overweight people and it affects elderly people the most. And most people who still recognize that COVID exists, but like they're not worried about it, whatever. They're basically just saying fuck those people, and that's their problem, not mine. Which is like, it's not that hard for you to get a shot to take care of everyone. Not everyone's in the best situation. Not everyone is obese by choice. There is diabetes that is still an issue in this world as well.
Yeah,
And when people have preconditions that they didn't choose to have themselves, well, then things pile on top of each other when they get COVID and maybe the complications with that. And all it really comes down to is, are you willing to do something that takes less than 10 minutes to take care of your fellow neighbor? And I heard Jonathan Isaac use the quote, love thy neighbor, when he was talking about his anti-vax stance the other day. And it was just so ironic.
yeah, yeah. That's the tough thing. He is a very religious guy. However, that didn't make any sense to me either. No.
He's just like his whole thing. It reminded me of every pastor that like or his conference that I'm talking about answering questions. It reminded me of every time I went to church and the pastors just spew a bunch of bullshit like that sounds really good, like they're well spoken, but it's just a bunch of horse shit they spilled all over the floor and none of it makes sense. And that's what Jonathan Isaac did. Like
Yeah.
he contradicted his previous statement, like too.
No, yeah, and obviously it's not as big of a deal because with Jonathan Isaac, because he's probably not even going to play the first 10 games anyway. And they just want to see he's still in rehab right now. We still have yet to figure out when we're going to see him this season. However, when that comes around, like we're gonna have to see it. Like
Yeah.
everyone wants to see him play. Like he's been out constantly, it seems like, since he was drafted, and he got that big contract. So hopefully he plays some NBA games before.
Yeah. It's like, oh, now you're going to be out because you don't want to get the vaccine. It's like you've been out half of your career, dude.
Like you have a
That's not going to
responsibility to
sit well
play.
with management.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. Well,
I mean, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars, like, and they're making a complaint like, oh, I don't know what's getting put in my body there. It's like, hey, bro, you're getting paid millions of dollars. You'll put whatever I tell you to put in your body. Like, if I'm the general manager, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, hey, man, if I come up to you and I say, take these performance enhancing drugs, you're also taking those. And you might take a fall for it. We'll still pay you under the table, but you take whatever I give you if I'm the manager.
no, it's literally only because it's called a COVID vaccine. If like
That's
people are
so
always like, I care about what goes in my body. I'm like, when your yearly flu shot comes around, it's a different flu shot every year, right? Like it's the same thing. Like if they would have just called the COVID vaccine a flu shot, people would so how
well,
many
I
people
think
would have taken it?
the flaw with that as well is that most people that aren't getting these COVID vaccines probably don't get their flu shots annually.
Yeah, probably.
So I
Right.
think they just don't get vaccines in general and they don't want to be bothered to go out of their way to get something where they're like, I don't think I need that. So I understand it from that standpoint, but not in a way that I think it's okay. I understand it in a way that, oh, that's their thinking. They're still a piece of shit. That's that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, nah, I'm with you. So
I
I
mean,
just
I need to get my flu shot more often, but let's just say get your COVID shot. I mean, god damn it. We're in a pandemic for a reason. I don't know why people need to think that it's
yeah,
like some coup and mass conspiracy against them that somehow all the other countries are in on.
I don't know.
But
I just want to see Kyrie play basketball.
yeah, I would love to see Kyrie play basketball alongside James Harden and Kevin Durant as well. Jonathan Isaac on this Magic team is going to be fun. Andrew Wiggins sucks at basketball. Michael Porter Jr., anti-vax as well. He's really good, though. Bradley Beal, I mean, I want to see him keep playing. But he was, man, that was rough conference to watch.
Yeah, be tough. Luckily, all my fantasy players, I think most of them are vaccinated. So
Yeah, you got to take that into account.
Yeah, that's the thing.